Tomorrow will be the first of two hearings this week with the SEC and Congress. This will include Gary Gensler and the commissioners. You can expect fireworks, and of course, crypto is going to be a big topic. And is the SEC about to lose its case against Coinbase? Got some big updates for you guys. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I want to just highlight what's happening with Bitcoin. Right now, it's sitting at $63,000. We're still waiting to see that true breakout to the upside, and it did cross $64,000 yesterday. So let's hope this week it can continue the momentum, but it's going to be a process. We have to be patient and let it do its thing. Now, something to highlight, yesterday we literally had over 150 million USD minted by Circle, folks. And if you follow whale alerts on Twitter, you will see these updates. The first batch that was minted was for 50,109,449 and it was at 7:15 a.m. The next amount was straight up 50 million USDC minted at 4:34 p.m. same day. And then finally at night, 10:54 p.m., there was another 50 million minted. So what does this mean? I've often shared it with you guys with Tether and other stablecoins. Liquidity. The whales are getting ready to take positions and so forth. And this is why we don't only look at charts. We look at fundamentals. We look at the macro and so forth to see the full picture of what's happening in this market. If anyone is just showing you charts and not showing you the macro and so forth, they're not giving you the full picture. So you have to look at this market from all aspects because the macro matters, the fundamentals matter. And you can say, well, hey, the charts are the most important. Sure. You can make that case, but you got to look at the full picture, right? If you're only looking at one part of it, you're going to miss where we're at and where we're going. So very, very interesting, the amount of stable coins that got minted yesterday, and you know where this is going to go, straight into the crypto market. Now, tomorrow is a very big day. It is the first of two hearings with the SEC and Congress. Here, Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association gave a summary. He said, "This is the week nearly everyone in crypto and Capitol Hill has waited long for. SEC chair and the other SEC commissioners will testify tomorrow before the House Financial Services Committee and Wednesday with the Senate Banking Committee. Usually this is a quieter hearing, but not this year." Let's break down what's typical here and what makes these oversight hearings different. First, the SEC chair usually testifies in front of these committees annually, so these hearings are standard. Gensler has also privately met with policymakers over the past few months too. This is where things start to deviate from the norm. With the election around the corner, typically members retreat to their party's position. The party not in control of the SEC rails against the chair, while others play defense, but we likely won't see that this time. What he's talking about here is we've seen a lot of top Democrats turn their backs on Elizabeth Warren, and they have been going after Gary Gensler. Look at Richie Torres, you got Darren Soto, you got Ro Khanna, you got Wally Nickel, and you even had Chuck Schumer in the Senate. That's a huge, right? So we're seeing a lot of Democrats in Congress are turning pro-crypto, and they recognize the spending crypto is doing. They realize this is a dumb place to be in, to be anti-crypto, anti-technology that's here to stay. So many of them are going against Gary. The problem is Elizabeth Warren has tons of power, and she's the one, spoon-feeding Gary a lot of the questions ahead of hearings, and they've collaborated together on their attack on the industry. Right. So that's what's been the whole roadblock. And of course, Elizabeth Warren has Biden's ear. She's the one that told him to veto the SOB 121 repeal, because remember, that got repealed in the House and the Senate. Democrats and Republicans both did that together, but Biden vetoed it. You think Biden knew what the hell this is? No, my friends. Elizabeth Warren made the call. So Ron continues saying here, instead, Gensler's tactic at the agency on a multitude of fronts have found him subject to fairly intense scrutiny from his own party, whether it is the treatment of SEC staff or the direction of the enforcement division. Gensler will find he has fewer allies than before. Then there is the added element of the other SEC commissioners joining Gensler, which is very uncommon. On one hand, it gives Gensler more defense with the two other Democrat commissioners flanking him on the stand and largely in lockstep on his policies. The Republicans will be the counter. So folks, we could see some fireworks here because you got Hester Peirce and Mark Ueda, who are both pro-crypto, who have been trying to work with the industry. And you got Gensler, right? We know where he stands, but then you got these two Democrat commissioners who have been anti-crypto. In fact, they're so blatant about their anti-crypto stance. When the judge in the Grayscale lawsuit said the SEC acted arbitrary and capricious, and then the SEC commissioners had to vote for the approval of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, can you believe that the two Democrat commissioners voted no? Even though the judge, the court said, hey, what are you guys doing? You're acting arbitrary and capricious, which is incredibly embarrassing for an agency like this. And credit to Gensler, he voted yes with Hester Peirce and Mark Ueda. So pretty pathetic, right? But it shows the political divide. And an agency like this is supposed to be neutral, not political. But Gary Gensler made it political. And he's, of course, a puppet on strings being controlled by Elizabeth Warren, who's a puppet on strings being controlled by TradFi, trying to protect these banking incumbents. So it should be pretty incredible. Tomorrow, guys, I'm going to be locked into this hearing. And of course, I'll bring you the details. Now, ahead of the hearing tomorrow, Republicans on the House Financial Services Committee and the Banking GOP, led by Patrick McHenry and Senator Lummis, sent a letter to Chair Gensler demanding the agency rescind the SAB 121, which prevents banks from being able to custody crypto. Now, we heard just last week that BNY Mellon is able to circumvent this, and it's because they are licensed in New York, which has its own regime there for licensing. It's kind of nuts. We need a federal regime to make all of this clear, right? Because New York is doing its own thing, Wyoming is doing its own thing. You can't have that. But this is a big roadblock that if they remove it, banks will be able to custody crypto. And of course, if they can custody they can do a lot more with trading and selling it to their clients and much more. So it will be pretty big for the industry to have these banks come in. And I believe in self-custody, but I know like my mom and dad and grandma and grandpa are not going to be able to do what I do. They're going to go the ETF route. They may go to their bank, which they trust and have been using for years. Now, over the years, I've given you guys the mock scenario that the banks will call you up. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, how are you? Did you know we offer Bitcoin now? You can buy it through us. We'll take care of it. We'll give you the monthly reporting. We'll custody it for you. That's coming. Grandma and grandpa are going to get the call, right? Your mom and dad are going to get the call. You may get the call from your bank that they offer this now. So that's where we're headed. But Gensler and Elizabeth Warren, trying to slow this industry down as much as possible. But they're going to lose, guys. Disruptive technology always wins. They may slow us down. Don't get me wrong. They may put up these hurdles, but they won't win, guys. This technology will outlast them. Now, Coinbase versus the SEC. We got some big updates here. Paul Grewal, chief legal officer at Coinbase, tweeted out, "Today, Coinbase made oral arguments before the Third Circuit in our case against the SEC's repeated arbitrary and capricious denial of our petition for rulemaking, which we originally put forward over 2 years ago." And he says the SEC refuses to provide a reasonable explanation for its bare bones denial, yet it has wielded its purported authority to engage in an arbitrary enforcement campaign against our industry. Regulation by enforcement does not but damage American consumers, innovation, U.S. competitiveness, and national security. Coinbase is determined to leave no stone unturned in our efforts to get clarity for our industry and the millions of Americans who hold crypto. American consumers and our industry deserve better. We thank the Third Circuit for its time and consideration. So, guys, if Coinbase is able to score a win here, it will be detrimental to the SEC. It will be at the same level as the Grayscale case because you have the largest crypto exchange in the U.S., which is public, which the SEC greenlighted to go public, knowing their business. And if they are able to score a win here, it's over. And this situation, in conjunction with the loss to Ripple, the loss to Grayscale, many Democrats turning on Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler, crypto spending over $200 million this election cycle, the largest spender, which is incredible. Things are not going to go well for Gensler and the SEC, and there's going to be major problems on their end. Now, I know some of you are going to say, hey, that hearing tomorrow, they're just going to talk. Well, one thing I've learned, because Elizabeth Warren has so much power and Gensler has so much power, and Biden's just listening to Elizabeth Warren, what it has done, what it has yielded, it woke up a lot of Democrats and who are now joining the Republicans. It has been a snail's pace process, But guys, it's paying off. And I know some of you want to see instant action. I do too, right? And we want to get Gensler kicked out, but we need the Democrats to continue to turn on him. And then Elizabeth Warren and him will be on an island by themselves. So we're making progress. I know sometimes it seems that we're not, but we're making progress. Now, Jake Tversky weighed in on the Coinbase oral argument, saying, listening to this and the SEC counsel keeps saying digital asset securities to the court. 2 weeks after, the different SEC counsel apologized to a different court for the confusion they caused by saying crypto asset securities. But we're supposed to know what the rules are. Remember in the Binance case and the footnote they sent to the court, we're sorry, we caused a lot of confusion using digital asset securities. We're so sorry, Judge. And then literally that same day they used it in the eToro settlement. Now they're using it again. This is insane. I mean, this is unbelievable. But we got to keep fighting to expose these liars and hypocrites. Now, Dave Michaels, who's a crypto lawyer, and he says some tough questions to the SEC today at the Third Circuit about its approach to overseeing crypto. Hard to predict how the panel will rule, but felt like two judges had tougher questions for the SEC than Coinbase. One judge appears to believe the SEC prefers to sue companies to writing rules. Here's a quote, "We won't tell you the answer until we prosecute you," he said, echoing one of the industry's claims. He's spot on. No clarity, just mass confusion, and just going around shaking down these companies. And it started with Ripple, of course, and then it went to everything else. Everybody's getting Wells notices, everybody's getting a lawsuit, but the industry's fighting back, punching back against the bully, as mentioned, the campaign spending, and the industry's proactively launching lawsuits against the SEC. So, guys, as I've been saying, there's light at the end of the tunnel here. We're winning. It's a slow process, but we're winning. Now, Eleanor Terra of Fox Business highlighted that she's going to be publishing her exclusive interview with SEC Commissioner Mark Ueda very soon. And the timing of this, I think, Mark Ueda is timing this right because he got the hearings this week, the election coming up and so forth. So it's interesting how these things are playing out. Now, we got some very interesting news around BlackRock and Coinbase. So apparently BlackRock amended their custody agreement with Coinbase. They filed an update with the SEC. Here's an excerpt. As detailed in the SEC filing, the amendment updates Section 2.1 of the Custodial Services Agreement. Coinbase custody must now process a withdrawal of digital assets to a public blockchain address within 12 hours of receiving instructions from the trust or its authorized representatives, subject to specific balance requirements. So this is good. It's important that you have these checks and balances in place, so to speak, that Coinbase indeed has the Bitcoin. So there has been recent criticism of Coinbase and how they're handling the custody with BlackRock and the buying of Bitcoin. So remember that, the cash may come in and it has to fulfill the order based on, people who are buying the ETF. But some people are arguing, hey, some of these things look like paper Bitcoin. I don't know all the details, but there are some pseudo red flags here, and I still have to learn more about it. But this makes sense, what they're trying to do here, and hopefully there's more, because I really appreciate the transparency that Bitwise Asset Management has done, where they've released the wallet addresses that store the Bitcoin, the Bitcoins for their ETF. And I think more of these issuers need to do that, but will they all do it? Probably not, right? BlackRock may not want to do that, but I hope that more of them do it. We need that transparency. I'm not saying that BlackRock and Coinbase are like FTX and they're going to do something shady, but I think having the transparency really helps to build trust and that nothing shady is happening here. Now, quick word from our sponsor, folks, and that is Uphold, which is a great crypto platform that is safe to use. They're reliable. I've been using them for years. They don't commingle or lend out your funds. They have 300 plus cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all the top altcoins. And like I said, I've been using them for years. I've interviewed the CEO many times, the CFO, and so forth. And they recently launched a new product called US interest accounts. So essentially, you can put your dry powder or your crypto profits in here and earn up to 5% APY. That's only for balances over $1,000. If it's below 1,000, you earn 2%. But best of all, it's FDIC insured. There are no fees or subscription, so you don't have to pay anything. You can pull your funds in and out at any point. So there's no lockups here, folks. So this is a really great product, and I'll be using it for some of my crypto profits. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, folks, Donald Trump was speaking at an event, and I thought he made a incredibly bullish statement. And I feel like the narrative is being laid here for this to happen. He says, I think crypto has got a great future. Maybe we will pay off the $35 trillion debt. Wow. What a statement, right, folks? And we know he's talked about making Bitcoin a reserve asset, and he's in full in support of crypto. So I feel the groundwork is being laid here. And imagine if crypto is adopted by the IMF and these world governments and so forth, and not all of it, but maybe they use Bitcoin and stable coins or something like that. I don't know how it will all work, but it could be part of how they fix some of this problem, guys. It's very interesting. We got news that global crypto investment products see $321 million in net weekly inflows as a rebound continues. So we're seeing VCs, hedge funds, and all these things are up, and there's a lot of capital raises happening. So it's pretty incredible. Global crypto funds at asset managers such as BlackRock, Bitwise, Fidelity, Grayscale, ProShares, and 21 Shares continued their rebound into a second week, adding net inflows worth $321 million last week, according to CoinShares, following 2 prior consecutive weeks of net outflows. Here's a quote. The surge was likely driven by the Federal Open Market Committee, the FOMC, comments last Wednesday, which took a more dovish stance than anticipated, including a 50 basis point interest rate cut. CoinShares head of research James Butterfield said in a Monday report. Total assets under management at the funds grew 9% as a result, with trading volume also up 9% on the week before at $9.5 billion. So guys, it's along the lines of what we've been talking about on this podcast, that easy money cycle is coming. While there may be short-term volatility, easier capital to be borrowing at a lower rate. This benefits the business cycle. It benefits hedge funds, the VCs. It helps people out who are trying to buy a house. So more liquidity is going to come back, and businesses will be able to borrow to hire. And you guys know how the economy works, right? The fiat money system. And of course, they're going to print money. They have to service the debt as they cut the rates. So more liquidity will enter in, which benefits assets. So of course, you're seeing this influx of capital because they're like, oh, there it is, right? Here's the start of the easy money cycle. Let's jump all in. This is not 2022 with the Fed doing quantitative tightening, raising rates, selling all their treasury, selling all their securities and all these things, folks. So exciting times ahead. I hope you're as bullish as I am, and have a plan. As I've been telling you guys, write down your price points that you're taking profits at and stick to that plan, guys. Watch out for the emotions that are going to come when we hit the euphoric phase and everyone's greedy. And then the Uber drivers and your grandma and everybody's talking about it, right? That's where you got to be careful, because you want to be a contrarian to the herd. All right, folks, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. It's on Substack. And also be sure to grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto. Grab a copy to support the podcast. Grab a few copies for your friends and family. It will make a great holiday gift, help them to better understand crypto. And if you bought a copy already, please, please, please leave a rating and review. It will really help me out. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.